All right, 10.2 arc measures. So when we look at this is nothing but like your vocabulary that we did last week. Okay? So a central angle. That's an angle whose vertex is at the center of the circle. So basically, if I have a circle and have a center point, if I have an angle, this angle, say it's just, 45 degrees or something like that, that angle, that's the central angle. Okay? How wide is it from the, at the center point? How much does it split up? Okay? Kind of like how big of a piece of pie am I cutting, right? So on Thanksgiving this year, if you want to impress grandma, when you cut a piece of pie, you'd be like, you know what? This is the central angle, grandma, when we cut this pie, and we're going to cut you out a 30-degree piece of pie, right? She might not understand a word you're saying or why you're doing it, but she just might say, wow, you are so smart. You pay a lot of attention in school, okay? So impress your grandma. Do that. Even if you don't know 100% what you're saying, just do it, right? Okay? All right, bless you. So we have central angle. Then we have the minor arc and the major arc. When you think of the word minor, what comes to mind? Okay, maybe small, right? A minor age-wise is what, less than 18 or something like that? Y'all are all minors, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, so it's less, it's something that's smaller than, right? So when we're talking about minor arc, it's less than 180. So does that make sense? Smaller than 180, it's going to be less, it's going to be the minor, okay? Here's the cheesy way to think about it. A minor is less than 18 years old. Minor arc's less than 180 degrees, okay? 18, 180, see all right? Now, with it being minor, it's named with 2 letters, okay? So we're only going to use 2 points to name it. Whereas the major arc, which is bigger, it's a major, it's greater than 180, and it's named with 3 letters. Doesn't that kind of make sense? The smaller arc will use less letters than the bigger arc. And just so you know what an arc is, sorry, I forgot to mention that. If I have a circle, the arc is maybe like the edge of it. It's kind of like your pie crust on a piece of pie, right? Okay, that's the arc around the circle. It's just a section of the length of the edge. Okay, so like I said, think about your pie crust around your circle would be your arc. Semicircle. What does the word semi mean? Half, right? Okay, so semicircle is half of a circle. Now, on the bottom right, it says circles are total 360 degrees, right? Okay, so like if I got on a bicycle and I jumped a ramp and I spun around all the way around, that's 360 degrees, right? Okay, now if something's happening like that, please, like I don't know, like I'm messed up, okay? I would never do that on purpose, okay? So if you just got me on a bicycle, we'd be doing good, but much less jumping and doing that. But like 360 degrees. So if I'm standing up here and I spin all the way around, that's 360. I made a complete circle, right? Okay, 360. So doesn't it make sense, since 180 is half of a circle, that a half circle, semicircle, equals 180, right? Now it says the endpoints land on the diameter. So if I have a circle, and let's say I have a diameter that goes through it, and there's my center point, the semicircle just goes halfway, and it starts and stops with our diameter, okay? And once again, it's named with 3 letters. All right, real quick review. Minor arc is less than 180. Which one is greater than 180? Major arc. How many letters do I name a semicircle with? 3. How many letters a minor? 2. Major? 3. Okay, so the only one with 2 is the minor. What else? Semicircle equals how many degrees? Equals 180 exactly. And a major arc, less than or greater than 180? Greater than, okay? So, on this one it says, name the red minor arc and find its measure. Then name the blue major arc and find its measure. So, because your notes are in black and white, label this. So just let yourself know that's red and that's blue. So that way when you look at these later, you know which one's a which. All right, so the red one, it says minor. Okay. How many letters to name a minor? 2. So, like, it's talking about this red here. And what 2 points did I connect with that arc? A and B. So, my arc's name's going to be AB. And the symbol for arc, wait for it, is an arc. It's on top. Okay. So, like a rainbow is like an arc. Okay. So, it's kind of like we got a little arc over our thing, our letters there. Okay. And arc AB, how much does that equal? 135. So we look at that central angle that's connected with that arc, and it's 135 degrees. So 135 degrees. Okay. Next, we'll do the blue one. The blue one is from here to here. Now, is that a minor or major arc? Major. How many letters to name a major? 3. Okay? So, when we name a major one, we need to take in consideration which one it starts and stops with. Okay? So, what's the 2 letters that it starts and stops with when I go around? A and B. Okay, those are my outside 2. A and B. And it doesn't matter what direction you go. I could start at B and go to A, or start with A and go to B. Now, the middle letter is just going to be somewhere on that arc between A and B on our blue there. It's just going to be another letter. So what's the other letter that's on that arc? D. So it's going to be A, D, B. And put an arc over it. Okay. So we could do A, D, B, or we could have done B, D, A. Now, does anybody know how we're going to figure out how much arc ADB equals? What's that? Yeah, the total is 360. We only got 2 sections, 135 and this other one. So we're going to do 360 minus 135. Okay. Can I do 0 minus 5 there? No. Borrow from the 6. That gives me 5. And what becomes 10? 10 minus 5? 5 minus 3? 2. 3 minus 1? 2. So that's 225. Now just remember, if you got less than 180, you know you did it wrong, right? Because it's a major arc. All right, we'll go quicker through this next one. So once again, label it. That's blue. That's red. Okay. Someone tell me, what's the name of the red one? Arc JL. What's the other way we could have named it? LJ. How much does it equal? 120 degrees. Blue one. Name it, somebody. JKL. Or, what's the other way? Or LKJ. And how much does it equal? 240. Gotta do 360 minus 120. That gives me 240. All right, questions there? Uh-huh. It just depends on what it asks. Yeah, so you just have to pay attention to whatever the directions are each time. Okay. All right, let's go to the next one. First it says, identify the given arc as major, minor, or semicircle. Then find the measure of the arc. Okay. Now, let's look at this. So I have, the first one is arc BC. Class, do you think when I'm going from B to C, I should go B to C like this? Or B to C like this? The blue or the green? The blue, right? Okay. You always want to go the shortest route possible. And if I went the other way, is it going to be a minor arc? No, because remember, it's only 2 letters, so it's a minor arc. If I went the other way, that's way more than half the circle, right? Okay. So, Martin, how many degrees does this one equal? 70. Kelsey, is it major, minor, or semicircle? Minor. All right, next one. ED. Okay, so obviously it's just going to be right here, E to D. Braden, how much does ED equal?
Oh, 115.
What, ED? Just E to D.
45.
There you go, 45. Alizé, is that major, minor, or semi? Minor. Next one, EAB. Okay. Now, same thing. Y'all watch here. Should I do EAB like EA and then come back to B? Or should I do just EAB like that? First or the second way? Second way, right? Okay. I'm E to A and then to B. What do y'all think we do with those two numbers that's included in my arc? Add them. So I'm going to do 110 plus 70, which gives me 180 degrees. And Annika, 180 degrees is major, minor, or semi? Semicircle. Okay. And last one, BAC. So with BAC, should I go clockwise or counterclockwise from B? Should I go around clockwise to the right, spin to the right, or should I spin to the left, counterclockwise? What is it? The left. So start with B and go counter. Like that? Yeah. Okay. So there's two ways I can solve to find this one. First way, I can either just add those all up, right? Okay. What's the other way I could do it that's actually a little easier? Yeah. Since I know all of those, like the total is 360, I'm only missing one little piece, right? So I could just do 360 minus 70. And what's that give you? 290. Okay. And of course, that's a what? Major. Okay. If you wanted to, you could have added 110 plus 70 plus 45 plus 65. All right. That would have worked too. Questions on that one? All right, last one. Find the measure of each arc. Okay, so it doesn't even tell me to identify it or anything. It just says find it. So JL. Abraham, to go from J to L, should I go clockwise or counterclockwise? Remember, clockwise spins to the right, counterclockwise spins to the left. Like when I'm starting at J. Counterclockwise. Yep. Then I'm just going to add those two up, right? 53 plus 79. 9 plus 3, class? 12. Carry the 1. 7 plus 5? 12 plus 1? 132. Okay. Next one, K to M. Hemina, from going to K to M, should I go clockwise or counterclockwise, starting with K? Counterclockwise, yep. K to M. So we'll add those two up. I'm just going to come over here to 79 plus 68. 8 plus 9, class? Carry the 1. 6 plus 7? 6 plus 7? 13 plus 1? 14. So 147. All right. J to L to M. JLM. Starting with J. Sincere. Should I go clockwise or counterclockwise? Counterclockwise. Good. So I'm going to go J to L to M. We're just add those three up, right? So we got 53, 79 plus 68. All right, so let's add those three. So 3 plus 9. 3 plus 9 is what? 12. Plus 8? 20. So put the 0, carry the 2. 2 plus 5. 7 plus 7. 14 plus 6. 20, right? So it's 200. And then the last one, JM. Cassie, should I starting with J, should I go clockwise or counterclockwise? So counter like this way? Is that going to make it a minor arc if I do that? Will it be less than half the circle? No. So we want to go the other way, right? So we want to go this way. JM. Class, what's the fastest way to figure out this one? Yeah, we know that all three of these in here add up to 200. So just do the total. 360 minus 200, right? Just get 160.